Let's try to focus this down to one thing that you mentioned recently, which was helping companies or businesses really understand how to do something new. And very specifically, you talked about a new initiative at ActiveCampaign to grow via LinkedIn. I'm guessing you meant like organic LinkedIn, sort of like social selling, brand building, that kind of stuff over there. And I can imagine a lot of companies, especially a company that's active campaigns size, if you haven't done that before, there's a lot of people you need to convince in order to get the organization to be bought into sort of like new channel or something that you want to try for the first time. So tell me a little bit more about that, like about your LinkedIn journey specifically, and maybe more broadly, like what is your advice to people on how they should go about thinking about organizational change and selling growth experiments?
Yeah, it's a great question. A lot of nuance to it. So I'll maybe start with talking specifically about what we've done with LinkedIn as a growth channel and kind of how I sold that initially and how it's going. So I think the first part of this that's really important is whenever you are trying to sell something, a growth experiment, you want to sell the system. Meaning that when I came in, I don't say, hey, I'm Casey, I'm getting millions of views on LinkedIn. We should invest a bunch in my profile for that to grow, because it's just a high risk. If I leave 3 months from now, that's something that they're going to feel like they're losing that momentum. And that's often one of the barriers for folks. So the first thing I let folks know is that this needs to be a team buy-in. I need leadership bought into the concept that we're going to train up the team. We're going to bring in dozens of people from sales, dozens of people from marketing, get these people sharing. And then if I leave in 3 months, we still have this sustainable engine that continues to bring back that attention for ActiveCampaign. So I think that's one of the first components. The second component when you're kind of selling in is I think you want to make sure that you have reference points. So go to people who are doing it well in market. Find the people who have the most successful LinkedIn engines. So in our market, you see the Gongs, you see the HubSpots, you see all these different brands that have built really effective footprints on channels like LinkedIn. Ask them about their numbers. Ask them about how they approached it. Ask them about what's working and what's not working. I think folks would be amazed at how open a lot of go-to-market leaders are, and even how many of those folks have shared much of this information publicly in the past. So now you're selling a system and you're providing specific references now and reference points. And then the third side of it, I think, is as you're trying to get folks on board, I think that you really want to try to take a layered approach. So when I was pitching the system, what I said, here's what I want to do. I want to get our team posting. But in addition to that, I want to run what I call a voice of the customer campaign. I want to get our partners and I want to get our customers talking about why did they come to ActiveCampaign? What are their favorite features? What are top results they're seeing? And I had a concerted effort to have that type of content going live at the same time as content that our team was producing. And then I had our paid team amplify the best of both of those categories. So the best performing posts from our internal team and the best performing posts from our customers. The byproduct of this layered approach is that every department of that, the voice of the customer, the paid, and the organic side are all amplified by that kind of cross-pollination. And that was something that was also informed by talking with a lot of other go-to-market leaders, like Aircall shared an example during one of the last SaaStr meetings about how they've heavily leaned into this layered approach. And they actually go to a specific demographics, like they'll choose New York City and they'll do phone booths and they'll do subways and they'll do in-person events and they'll do localized ads and they'll do flyers. And they found a lot of success from just doing all of these different approaches layered in that same specific area. So there's a lot of ways it can look. But I think if you follow that blueprint of trying to make sure that you're selling a system, providing them specific references, having a layered approach, and the final thing is, I think you want to think thoughtfully about what your leading indicators are. So if you choose a social platform, what you're often going to find is that it's not going to immediately lead to revenue in 2 weeks from now, right? It's not like a paid ad. There is a curve there. So what you want to start doing is, what are the leading indicators? Maybe it starts with impressions. What's more valuable than impressions is actual engagements or conversations. What's more valuable than those comments are actual DMs or inbound messages with intent around your platform. So you want to start tracking those specific pieces as you're going along. That's what's ultimately going to lead you to have the most success.
Awesome.